And did you make threats against Mr. Gilbert's girlfriend's kids too?
No, she only got one.
No.
Never talked about her first child.
You didn't make any threats against the girlfriend's kids?
No, only the one she aborted. Yeah.
This child's last name is Hernandez. That's not your name or the father's name. Where did that name come from?
Mom states dad lives with his pregnant girlfriend, who threatened to hurt her daughter.
And it's in the interest of Valentina Hernandez.
What is the name of the child that we're here for today?
Valentine Avery Fernandez.
And who is the father of that child?
Antonio Gilbert.
Your Honor, I will offer into evidence the acknowledgement of paternity. In this case, as State's Exhibit A.
State's Exhibit A is now admitted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Galvin, this child's last name is Hernandez. That's not your name or the father's name. Where did that name come from?
Yes, that name is my mom's last name.
Would you like her name to remain Hernandez?
Yes.
Okay. Now, who does Valentine live with?
She lives with me.
All right. How long has she lived with you?
Since she was born.
When did you and Mr. Gilbert separate?
I think I was with him until I was 7 months pregnant.
Okay. So was there ever a time when you and Mr. Gilbert and Valentine lived together?
No, we never lived together.
Who makes the day-to-day decisions for Valentine?
I do.
Okay. Does Mr. Gilbert help out with those decisions in any way?
No, he does not.
All right. How often does Mr. Gilbert visit with Valentine?
He never does. Only like when she was 2 months, I think.
Has it been quite a while since Valentine has seen Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, over a year.
Now, have you offered Mr. Gilbert to come visit with Valentine?
I used to, but I have no contact. No way to contact him.
Has Valentine ever spent the night with Mr. Gilbert?
No, never.
Okay. What concerns would you have if Valentine were to spend the night with Mr. Gilbert?
He lives with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend has threatened to kill my daughter before.
Okay. How did you receive those threats?
I received them through messages on my Facebook.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
Over a year, January 26, 2023.
So since that time, though, Valentine has not gone to see Mr. Gilbert. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she has not.
And so that you said that was around January of 2023. Have you had any contact with Mr. Gilbert or his girlfriend since then?
No.
So how is Valentine covered on health insurance at this time?
She receives Medicaid.
That's all I have for this witness, Your Honor. I'll pass this witness. Now, you heard Ms. Galvin testify that it's been over a year since the last time you've seen Valentine. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
All right. And have you made an effort just to see Valentine since then?
No, I haven't had no way to contact her.
You also heard Ms. Galvin testify about a girlfriend of yours sending a threatening message to her in regards to the child. Do you recall that incident?
Sir, I do.
Okay. Is it true?
Yes, sir, because she reached out to her first, and they both was arguing and threatening her first.
Okay. And since that time, are you telling the court that you haven't had really any contact with Ms. Galvin or with Valentine since then?
No, sir, because she blocked me.
I can't hear you, Mr. Gilbert.
I said no, sir, because she blocked me on everything.
So you also heard me ask Ms. Galvin about the last name of the child that is Hernandez. What do you think the last name of the child should be?
I mean, I think it should be my last name. I didn't get really no say so in it or anything like that.
Okay. Why do you believe that's in the child's best interest?
Just so it could have just something of my name and my connection with me.
When is the last time that you visited with Valentine?
When she had surgery in Houston on her throat.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Mr. Gilbert? I didn't catch that.
I said when she was having surgery on her throat in Houston.
When who was having surgery on her throat?
Of my daughter Valentine.
When was that?
That was in around January.
Of 2023?
No, of 2022. Or no, it was 2023. I'm sorry.
Okay, gotcha. All right. But before that though, so did you have visitation? Like maybe did Valentine come to your house?
No, just like
Okay.
said, like when she was 2 months now is it.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other children?
Yes, I have one on the way.
Did you say you have one on the way?
I have one on the way.
Okay. What do you do for work, Mr. Gilbert?
Just construction handyman work when I can.
What just is it kind of just odd jobs, various things that you can find and do?
Yes, yeah, but I'm not employed in either way.
Who do you work for when you do those type of jobs?
Just a family friend.
All right.
Who?
A family friend.
And how often do you get work through him?
It's rare, just every once in a while.
What type of wages do you make when you do that work?
When I go with them, it just depends if it's a half a day or full day. If it's a full day, it's $100. Half a day is like 50 to 75.
And how often would you say you do that work?
Like every other month.
Every other month?
Yes, sir.
How come you're not working, Mr. Gilbert?
I'm just having a hard time finding a job.
Why? I don't know anybody in this area that's having a hard time finding a job.
I just recently out of jail.
Okay. And how long were you in jail?
I was there for about almost 2 months.
For what charge?
I had a motion to revoke my probation
What are you on probation for?
for controlled substance. For
How long have
felony.
you been on, how long have you been on probation?
I've been on probation for 2 years, but since it got reinvoked, I'm on probation for 5 years.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Sled. I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Gilbert, if you were to qualify for a program that might help you get a job here in Jefferson County, would you be willing to participate?
Yes, sir.
Oh, do you have any other children, Mr. Gilbert? I may have already asked that.
Yes, you did. I have one more on the way.
One on the way. Okay, right. Okay. I have no further questions of this witness, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
I got lots of questions. So y'all stand by. Ms. Galvan, you stated that Valentina's last name is Fernandez in honorarium of your mother, but that means that the child doesn't carry either your last name or the father's last name. I need you to tell me why you think that's Valentina's best interest for me to leave it that way.
Well, me personally, I never liked my last name and I never liked his. So I had talked to him before I even named her. I had told him that what does he think about this name, and he agreed.
Okay.
He never
That's
said
actually kind of reasonable, Miss Galvan. Mr. Gilbert, let me ask you a question about the child's last name. Because here's the problem that I have with making any changes to the child's last name. When the child was born, you and the mother signed a statement that is now on file with the court where you both agreed that and it's not Valentina, it's Valentine.
yes,
That Valentine's last name would be Hernandez. Do you remember when you did that, when you signed the statement saying that it was okay for Valentine's last name to be Hernandez?
No, sir. From what I recall, it was just, I guess, a last moment thing, and I really didn't have no say so. We was already in the hospital.
I can't go into great detail because I wasn't there, Mr. Gilbert, but you obviously
Yes,
had some say so because you signed the statement saying that that was the child's last name. So
yes, sir.
if you didn't agree that that child's last name should have been that, then you shouldn't have signed this statement saying that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
I have a hard time changing the child's last name at this time, since you and the mother agreed that that would be the child's last name when the child was born.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me ask another question. Ms. Galvan, you don't believe that the child should carry Mr. Gilbert's last name anywhere?
no, sir.
Okay. A lot of hard feelings there, huh, Ms. Galvan?
I mean, he has never done for my daughter, so he don't
I
deserve
understand.
that.
Mr. Gilbert, you admitted that a girlfriend that you had back in January of 2023 may have sent threats to Valentine through her mother. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. She did too.
I didn't ask you about what Miss Galvan did. I asked you if your girlfriend made threats against an infant child in 2023, and you said yes, that she did. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you still with this woman?
Yes, sir.
I got some real problems there, Mr. Gilbert. You understand my concerns, right?
Yes, sir. I understand.
I don't necessarily know or believe or have any indication that your girlfriend would actually do any of those things, but just the mere fact that she made a threat against an infant child sort of sheds a new light on it, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
May have been done in anger, may have been done out of wrath and
It
vengeance
was,
against Miss Galvin, what she said, but there is never any excuse, Mr. Gilbert, for threatening an infant child.
they was both threatening their own children, sir. I wasn't even in the argument. I didn't have no
Okay.
say so.
And I believe that Miss Galvin stated that you weren't part of it. Miss Galvin, did you make threats against Mr. Gilbert's girlfriend's kids too?
No, she only got one.
No.
Never talked about her first child.
Okay. You didn't make any threats against the girlfriend's kids?
No, only the one she aborted. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're just as guilty as the other person in regards to making threats against kids, right?
Well, I don't
You
think it
want
was
me
a
to
threat because I
you
didn't
want me
threaten
to
to
take
kill them.
you want me to take your threats against the girlfriend's kids with any grain of salt? Just in something that was
No,
done?
I never threat to kill her kids.
Well, I understand, but you did make threats.
No, I just said, I don't know if I could say this, but she said,
I didn't ask you
after
what
that,
she
she made
said,
that.
'cause you can't
Okay.
tell me what she said. She's not here
Okay.
to defend herself.
Okay.
This just some big ugly comment, the big ugly Facebook fight between you and Mr. Gilbert's girlfriend.
Well, she just texted me threatening my daughter. That's all.
Okay. Did you say ugly stuff to Mr. Gilbert's girlfriend?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Sounds like a big Facebook fight to me. Did you notify Mr. Gilbert shortly thereafter that you would not be allowing him to have any contact with Valentine?
I
Miss Galvin?
never really said nothing.
Mhm.
He just blocked me, so I don't have no contact with him at all.
Okay. It was right around this same time, Mr. Gilbert, that you stopped having contact with Valentine?
No, sir. It was on and off blocking.
It was on and off what?
It was on and off blocking. Like,
I
with
don't,
her.
Mr. Gilbert, I don't care about blocking.
Yeah,
I
I
care
understand.
about whether or not you had contact with your daughter.
No, sir. Not even before that. I tried. My family tried. We still do try.
No. So, Mr. Gilbert, let me ask you a really hard question. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Is it Valentine's fault that you haven't had any contact with her?
No, sir.
There you go. Now we're starting to get some reasonable responses. So when I have to make a decision on the contact that you have with Valentine, surely you don't think that I should just give you a child that's not even 2 years old yet overnight that hadn't seen you in a year, right? You don't think that.
Yes, sir. I understand it.
I mean, you understand that you're going to have to get to know this 2-year-old again before you
Yes,
just have unfettered access. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
you're open, Mr. Gilbert, to reasonable accommodations for visitation until you get to know Valentine again.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not her fault, right?
No, sir.
Whatever this breakout down in communication between you and Miss Galvin, I got to reestablish the visitation rights between you and Valentine.
Yes, sir.
All right. See, that's what I like to hear. Reasonableness. Miss Galvin, do you have any objection to a reasonable visitation schedule with Mr. Gilbert until he gets to know Valentine again?
Yeah, I would like to just supervise.
Well, I kind of assume that. I don't think it's funny, Miss Galvin. I got a 2-year-old
but he
daughter out
could-
there who doesn't have a father. And it might be a good idea if we reacquaint themselves with each other so they can establish a relationship.
Yes, he could have that relationship with his daughter.
I do believe that you're right, Miss Galvin. I do believe that there should be a certain amount of time period the visitation needs to be supervised so that Mr. Gilbert and Valentine can get to know each other again.
Yes, sir.
But I don't think it should be forever. How long do you think he should have supervised visits?
Well, I don't know, because my daughter, she really is not good with people she don't know. I guess if she get used to him coming around a little bit more or more.
So if I said Mr. Gilbert had to have X number of supervised visits before he could have supervised visits, unsupervised visits, how many supervised visits do you think Mr. Gilbert should have?
A lot. I don't know she never really know this person,
Okay.
her father.
Okay.
So it would take a lot for her to get used to him.
All right. Well, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with a lot because I have no idea how to put a factual number to that. A lot. I don't know what that means.
And he's what do you call it? He's always been in and out. So if he will continue to do his to come see her when, like, you know,
Well, that's why it would
often,
be
I think she'll get
that's why it
pretty
would be
used to it.
that's why it would be a specific number, Miss Galvan. I wouldn't just say he'd have supervised visits for 4 months, because then he could just let the 4 months run out and skip it. Now, I'd say you'd have to have a specific number of contact rights. But she is only 2, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So she's still pretty young, very young. Miss Galvan, do you live in Jefferson County?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Gilbert, do you live in Jefferson County?
Yes, sir.
The state have any other evidence they wish to submit?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Galvan, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
No, sir.
Mr. Gilbert, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
No, sir.
This is what I'm gonna do. The primary part of this court order is gonna be pretty standard. Not gonna be a whole lot in it. There is gonna be some phased in visitation schedules, so Mr. Gilbert will have the opportunity to reestablish his relationship with Valentine. The real question I have is gonna be about the name, and I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna leave it where it was. The parties signed what they signed on the acknowledgement of paternity 2 years ago when the baby was born. And I don't see any reason why I need to change the name. The court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find that based on the testimony of the parties, it is certainly in Valentine's best interest to name the parties as joint managed conservators. There will be a domicile restriction in this case as per the local rule, Mr. Slett. That means, Ms. Galvan, that you must reside in Jefferson County or a county that touches Jefferson County as long as you are the primary caregiver for the child Valentine. That doesn't mean that you can't move. What it means is if you intend to move, then you have to send notice of that intent to move to Mr. Gilbert so that he can contest it if you're going to move a long way off. Now, if Mr. Gilbert doesn't give you permission to move with the child, then you always have the right to come back to court and petition the judge in this court to see if that judge will let you move. If you have a good reason for moving, a lot of times the judge will give you the opportunity to do that. If you don't have a good reason, then the judge is not going to allow you to move with the child. Doesn't mean you can't travel. It doesn't mean you can't move around and go do things and have fun and vacations, but it just means that the child must permanently reside in Jefferson County or a county that touches Jefferson County. I'm going to order Ms. Galvan to maintain the current health insurance that she has on the child, and I'm going to order Mr. Gilbert to pay child support as per minimum wage presumption. $225 a month in child support, $25 a month in cash medical, both payments beginning April the 1st of 2024. Mr. Gilbert will be responsible for court costs, but I will give him until September 30th of 2024 to pay the court cost. The phased-in visitation schedule will be 10 visits at each phase, Mr. Slett. So that will be 10 visits supervised by Ms. Galvan or someone that she suggests and agrees with, followed by 10 unsupervised for 4 hours, followed by 10 unsupervised for the day, followed by 10 one-night overnight visits. Now, those visitations will take place on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturday of every month. So if Mr. Gilbert does all of the visitations the way I've suggested, that means he will have 5 months of supervised visits, followed by 5 months of unsupervised visits for 4 hours for each phase. Once those first 2 phases are completed, then he can move to day visits. But again, this will give Ms. Galvan, and more importantly, Valentine, the opportunity to get to know Mr. Gilbert again over several months before he just has weekend visits and unsupervised contact with the child for standard possession. Does that answer all the issues before me today, Mr. Slett?
Yes, it does, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Gilbert has also voluntarily agreed to enter into the Choices program. Is that correct, Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, sir.
All right. At the end of this hearing, I'm going to leave Mr. Gilbert in the courtroom so that he can talk to the Choices representative. But now Mr. Slett, however, is going to send me a court order. If it matches what I said here today, I'm going to sign it and I'm going to get it back to them. Then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to each of you. Now, neither party has to be satisfied with my ruling today. If either party is dissatisfied, you have 3 days with which to file written notice of appeal with the district clerk's office in Jefferson County. If you wish to take advantage of that right and file your appeal, you are required to make sure that you send a copy of that written appeal to all the other non-appealing parties. All right. Ms. Galvan, Mr. Gilbert, I appreciate you both being here today.